What's up, friends? Welcome to Mom's Dinner. My name is Susie Weinrich. Here, we're helping you feel successful in your kitchen at dinner time with super easy and delicious recipes. Today, I have a ton of apples that I need to use up. They've been hanging out for a while, and so I'm gonna make some homemade applesauce. A couple keys to really good applesauce that I'm gonna share with you throughout this recipe, so stick around today. We're making homemade applesauce with 5 pounds of apples. One of the first tips of making really good applesauce is to use an assortment of apple varieties. Anything that is gonna be kind of crisp, have really good flavor that you love, and maybe a variety of tart apples and sweet apples is going to be perfect. Some of the different varieties that we like are Pink Lady, Gala, Fuji, Granny Smith, and Honey Crisp. And I've got most of those here today that I'm gonna use in my applesauce. The first thing we wanna do is just peel all these apples, and then we're gonna get them chopped up. The next step is going to be to cut them into 1-inch pieces, and this is the next tip for making really good applesauce, is to cut all of your apple chunks into similar size. They don't have to be pretty or anything like that, but if you can keep all of your chunks about the same size, then everything's gonna cook down about the same time, which is great. And as you're going through your apples, if you've got some that have little brown spots or anything, totally fine. Just cut that little spot out, make sure that the rest of the apple is good, and then continue cutting. All right, I am finishing up these apples, got them all chopped. They're all roughly about the same size. My pot is full. 5 pounds of apples is a lot of apples, but it cooks down quite a bit. So I'm gonna turn this on to about medium heat, and I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of water. The other option with the liquid is to add like an apple cider juice or apple juice, just to boost up that apple flavor. If you use an apple cider, you're probably gonna get some notes of cinnamon and some other spices in there as well. Would be delicious. This is tip number 3 for making really good applesauce, is to not add too much liquid. The apples are gonna release their own liquid, so you don't want to over drown the apples and then end up with really runny applesauce. You want the apples to shine in your applesauce. Now we want to add a little bit of lemon juice. We're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, and that is going to do 2 things. It's just going to brighten up the flavors a little bit, really enhance that apple flavor. It's going to add a little bit of tartness. You know, we did add some Granny Smith apples in there, which are pretty tart, but the apples will just enhance that a little bit. It's going to balance the sweetness as well. So we need 1.5 tablespoons, and I bet we're pretty close there. It's also going to help reduce any browning on the apples. Then we're gonna add about a 1/4 teaspoon, is that right? A 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, and I'm just gonna eyeball this. This is actually gonna enhance the sweetness, which is counterintuitive, but that's how it works. Then we're gonna add some spices. We're gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground clove, which is my favorite spice. Oh, I love ground cloves so much. If you want some star anise, if you want cardamom, you can definitely add some more of those warm spices to enhance the flavor of your applesauce. Or you can leave the spices out altogether and just have straight up applesauce. All right, I'm gonna give this a stir as best I can so that nothing is falling out of the pot. And then I'm gonna partially cover the pot, and I'm gonna let this simmer and let the apples cook down for 30 minutes, and then we'll add the rest of the ingredients. It already smells incredible. Okay, we've let this simmer for about 30 minutes. It's looking really good. The apples are starting to break down, and so we're gonna add a little bit of sugar. This is another tip for really good applesauce. We're gonna add brown sugar instead of white sugar. It's just gonna add a better layer of flavor than the white sugar would. Oh, careful when you grab your pot lid. And I'm gonna stir that in. If your pot's looking a little dry at this point, you can add a few splashes of water because we are gonna simmer it with the lid off for about another 15 minutes. So I am just gonna add another little splash of water. That's probably like a 1/4 cup, and let that continue to do its thing for another 15 minutes. All right, this is simmered the extra 15 minutes and it looks so, so good. You have a lot of options at this point. You can leave it just like this and serve it as like a dinner apples and cinnamon, you know, something like you get at Cracker Barrel or something. And it's delicious. I'm gonna take a bite. It's soft, so there's still like some applesauce texture in there, but these whole apples are soft with just a hint of bite to them. Oh man. So I definitely want to save some out to serve as just like a dinner apples and cinnamon side dish. The other option is to let this cool and then pop it in like a food processor or a really strong blender and blend it down completely smooth so that you have more of like a commercial style applesauce. The other option is to, my mouth is watering so hard. The other option is to take like a potato masher or a, you know, an immersion blender and just mash until you have kind of a chunky texture. I am just gonna add a skosh more water just to loosen it up a little bit. I think that my apples had a lot of pectin in it. But that's the nice thing is that you can totally be flexible with this recipe. I cannot wait to have a bite of this. This is definitely when you want to take a bite and see if you want some more sugar. You're going to add some more brown sugar and give it a little extra simmer so that the brown sugar melts in. It'll be good to go. If you want some more spices, add those in now. If you want a little more tart, add a little extra lemon juice. You can really customize your applesauce exactly how you want it. Now this does make a lot of applesauce. So you can actually freeze your leftover applesauce in the freezer for 6 months to 12 months and just thaw it in the fridge overnight. The texture may change a little bit, but not so much that it's not edible. It'll be wonderful. So I really hope you give this applesauce recipe a try in your kitchen. It helps you feel like a success. I hope you'll join me next week for another recipe video on Tuesday. And until then, have a wonderful week ahead. See ya.